Amy Winehouse was one of the most iconic artists of the 21st century, thanks to her monumental album Back to Black in 2006. She went on to be one of the most award-winning superstars in the face of British music. But the constant fame and attention came at a price.
With a non-stop, year-in, year-out war between her and the media, Amy Winehouse found herself caught up in life-threatening addictions, Class A substance abuse, self-harm, and toxic relationships. Witness the rise and fall of Britain's most iconic star and the lead-up to her devastating death. Her drinking continued to get worse, causing her career to suffer, and causing an addiction that controlled her daily routine. A fatal addiction that would eventually take her life.
So have you just been performing?
Yeah.
What's it like?
I haven't ate. I've probably missed the dinner now. So I'm not hungry. It was really good. No, it was really good. Crowd of wicked, you know, it's like, it's an industry crowd. But I think if you do enough things like me and like Ty, you realise that it's less about the crowd and more about what's going on with your band and yourself, because there are a lot of dry audiences around, but it's cool, you just enjoy yourself and no one cares, you know what I mean?
Born on September 14th, 1983, Amy Winehouse. He grew up in Camden Town in London, raised by her parents Mitch and Janice Winehouse. Amy was raised listening to the soulful sounds of Frank Sinatra and 1950s jazz. It was this upbringing that helped shape her into the performer she is known for today.
Amy was a natural performer. At just the age of 14, she had already learned the guitar and was writing her own music.
Throughout the rest of her teenage years, she developed a love for hip-hop, specifically Salt and Peppa. This genre would further influence her sound going forward.
I'd love to go meet Quincy Jones. I'll go and find Mick Jones. I was really chuffed to see him here. I love Mick Jones, he's a legend.
Amy's best friend, soul singer Tyler James, sent her demo tape to any person. It didn't take long for Amy to get recognized by record labels. At just the age of 20, Amy released her first album, titled Frank, an incredibly raw-sounding album that put her straight into the public eye as a real musical talent. Frank was a smash hit for Amy and skyrocketed up the charts thanks to its incredible sales and critical response. Amy went on to also win a ton of awards at events everywhere. The lead single, Stronger Than Me, was also shooting up the charts, a song that really put Amy's love life in the spotlight.
But it was this song that fans would look back at because of its overarching story.
Now pale in comparison to who you think I am, you're always...
During the process of promoting Frank and attending award ceremonies, Amy loved the endless praise and attention from her new fans and the press, but stated it wasn't going to change her as a person.
And let me read this. Oh, God. And the winner, and the song is Stronger Than Man by Amy Winehouse and Salam Remy. Let's give it up.
Accepting the award is Amy Winehouse, and from EMI Music Publishing, Peter Reichardt and Guy Moots.
Right here. Wow. I don't believe this. Thank you, Salam. There's no picture of him, but Salam is the most inspirational producer I've ever worked with. And he has that unique skill of not just having the most appropriate beat, but also drawing the artistry out. And I guess that's the story of this song. And I want to thank EMI Music Publishing. Shit. I want to thank EMI Music Publishing and all the Nicks
and obviously Island Records and Salam again, and Bruce Purse, who played the trumpet on the track. Thank you.
However, despite her success and immediate love of attention, Amy was beginning to feel anxious in front of the ever-growing audience.
While Amy was rising up the ranks in the music industry, taking in all of the new popularity, she met a music video production assistant at a bar. This would be the start of one of the industry's most stormy relationships anyone had ever seen.
That production assistant would be none other than Blake Fielder Civil.
Blake Fielder Civil was infamously the one who introduced Amy to hard drugs. He admitted that in an East London hotel room, he was smoking a 10-pound batch of heroin when he let Amy have a try.
Blake and Amy had a very, very tumultuous relationship. They were so in love with each other, but it was almost like an addiction. It was up and down, up and down. They were very much addicted to each other, and drugs played a huge role in that.
After a few years of focusing on her relationship with Blake, Amy took to the studio to work on her second album. Alongside this, Amy started looking at changing her image to something that was much more classical, but also helped her stand out compared to everyone else in the industry. In contrast to her jazz-influenced former album, Amy's focus shifted to the US girl groups in the 1950s and 60s. In May 2006, Amy's demo tracks such as You Know I'm No Good and Rehab appeared on Mark Ronson's New York East Village radio. Mark Ronson would later go on to co-produce Amy's upcoming album.
Meet you downstairs in the bar and her. Your rolled up sleeves in your skull t-shirt. You say, why did you do with him today? And sniff me out like I was Tanqueray.
In October 2006, Amy Winehouse released her most successful album ever and one of the biggest selling albums of the 21st century, Back to Black. It went to #1 on the UK albums chart for 2 weeks in January 2007. The album is emotionally charged and incredibly personal. It draws heavily on Amy and Blake's tumultuous relationship.
She was so into him that there was really no stopping her at all. It was that same sort of force, like she had to be with Blake. There was no other option. It had to happen. She wanted, I mean, she could have eaten him, she would have. It was that kind of thing where she just loved him so much.
In the case of Amy Winehouse, there's always a belief and a narrative, of course with some plausibility, that her addiction and her death were really the fault of her husband, Blake, and she actually described him. She says, there's a male version of me. She says, he's a male version of me, we're soulmates. And of course, in some sense they were, but sometimes addicts can be drawn to other addicts, can be drawn to people who enable their addiction.
Blake's mother described them as soulmates on the one hand, and then they said they're as mad as each other. Amy described him as a male version of her. She said he's perfect for me. And obviously
What you have here is a kind of codependent relationship, and what that means is that what Amy saw in Blake was perhaps somebody who could actually understand her, and some men are incredibly good at latching onto women with problems to displace focus or having to focus on problems they themselves have, and they come across as the knight in shining armor, the man on a white steed, and the woman falls for it, you know, and she'll think, oh my God, this man understands me, he loves me, you know, he really understands what I'm going through, he's going through something similar to me, he can connect with me, and I can connect with him in a way that I just can't with anyone else. And of course she was known to carve. I love blanking glass on her stomach now. Whether the relationship was good, bad, or indifferent, is not the point. I'm trying to make the point I'm making is, from Amy's point of view, she saw in Blake somebody she could connect with, a soulmate, a male version of her. He sold himself to her as the one who could understand her and the one who could rescue her. But the reality was, they were both on the road to ruin.
Amy Winehouse's stormy relationship with Blake was the catalyst for much of her destructive behavior. During one breakup, Amy admitted to drowning her sorrows in alcohol, but she used the heartbreak as momentum for writing music. Her drug and alcohol intake increasingly affected her live performances, as she turned up to several clubs or TV performances too drunk to complete her set. Her management company suggested she enter rehab, but rather than take their advice, she dumped the management company and turned the experience into the catchiest song of her career.
They tried to make me go to rehab. I said no, no, no. Yes, I've been black, but when I come back, no, no, no.
As her fame grew, so did speculation in the press about her lifestyle. Her relationship with Blake was in constant turmoil.
They tried to make me go to rehab. I won't go.
The pressure of constantly being in the public eye also caused Amy to distance herself from her friends and loved ones. Most notably Mark Ronson. The media absolutely played a monumental role in the demise of Amy Winehouse at the height of her fame. Everything she did, every step she took was absolutely scrutinized by the press. She could not go anywhere without a scrum of cameras and photographers going after her. And this is just a normal girl from London being followed around. She wanted to be a singer and a performer. She did not want to be a centerfold of paparazzi.
In 2007, Amy and Blake both set out to Miami to have a relaxing, romantic getaway from the endless media attention. It was here where the two got secretly married, once again shocking the journalists, Amy's friends, and her family. After returning from their Miami trip, Amy went back to performing on stage and attending regular awards shows, looking fresh-faced and revitalized. However, it was around this time that her relationship with the press became increasingly heated. With news stories about her released almost every day, Amy's change in personality was really starting to show during her interviews.
The photographers are there for every episode in the Winehouse soap opera. Thank you. Amy.
Do you ever kind of sit back and think, look, when you think successful female artists in America, you think Beyonce, Christina Aguilera, you think Shakira. These are all very kind of polished images. You know, these girls step out, they're probably ready for the cover of Vogue magazine. But you yourself have come out doing, you know, you defied convention, not just with your sound, but also with your look. Right? How important is image to your career?
I'm not really fussed. I'm very lucky that I got to make the kind of album I wanted to make. That's pretty much it. The rest of it, I tell everyone to piss off, so it doesn't really matter, I suppose.
As the spotlight of fame grew harsher, so did Amy's reliance on drugs to silence the noise. That following year, while in Bergen, Norway, Amy, Blake, and a friend were all arrested at their hotel for marijuana possession. They were found with 7 grams and were fined $715. Soon after this event, Blake was sentenced to 27 months in jail for his part in an assault on a bar owner and a subsequent attempt to cover up the crime with a bribe.
Every aspect of her life, from her leaving the house to go shopping, to her consumption of drugs, whether it was smoking crack, whether it was smoking marijuana, somehow there was always a camera